In this video we're looking at histograms and the stem and leaf plots. So the first thing we're going to look at is our frequency histograms and polygons. So a frequency histogram is a column graph of numerical data where the columns stand together without gaps. So you can see it in the diagram below, the blue rectangles. There's no gaps between them. Now a frequency polygon is a line graph that is constructed by joining the midpoints of those columns that we did in the frequency histogram. So in the green line there that you can see in the graph, that's your frequency polygon. Alright, so it's important to know how to read these type of graphs. So if I was to ask you how many scores there were for 1, or how many scores in 1, you would read across here. So for 1, there was 2 scores. Now if I said how many scores were there, how many people scored 3 for example, you go to 3 on the x-axis, so down here, you go to here and you can read across. So it's saying that there is 3 scores. And again, let's do 4. So if I'm saying how many people scored 4, you can read across and say 5 people scored 4. Alright, so that's how a frequency histogram works, and that's how you construct one. If you had, for example, a set of data such as 1, 2, 2, 3, you would have your column graph, you'd have 1 there, there was double as many 2s and then back to 1. Alright, so it's just a column graph, and it's pretty, when you read it, make sure you're reading from the bottom and then up and across. The next thing we want to look at is what we call stem and leaf plots. Now these are a little bit more harder to understand, but once you get the hang of it, it's pretty easy. So a stem and leaf plot lists the scores of the data set, and usually they're in order, but it's always good to double check. Now these are helpful to show clusters or score outliers or how the data is actually spread out. So you can see here an example of a stem and leaf plot. Your stem column is usually in tens. So the first orange circles there, where it's 1 and I've circled 2, right? That is read as 12, okay? Not 1 or not a 2, that is 12, because that is your tens column, and then you have your ones, your leaf is your 1 column, all right? Next one, down the bottom there, you can read that as, see you've got the 4 circled in the stem, so that's 40, and then you've got 1 circled in the leaf, so that's read as 41. Now, it's important to know when you're finding the range for these type of stem and leaf plots, the median, when you're crossing them out, it works the same way as if you were doing it in a normal straight data set. Now, if you really get confused and you're like, I can't work it out, you can rewrite this as this, for example. All right, so there's my 10s, and then finally I go to the next line, 21, 22, 30, 31, and then 41. So this down here is the same as what you've got in your stem and leaf plot, just shown differently.